Good morning students. Today I am going to explain the circulatory system. Here need for transport inside the body. So what are the substances has to be transported inside the body? The digestive system digests and absorb nutrients which has to be transported to all parts of our body, cells and tissues. The respiratory system draws in air and the oxygen picked up by the blood capillaries in the lungs has to be transported to every cells of our body through the blood vessel. All extra water, salt, nitrogenous waste has to be sent to the kidney and it has to be thrown out of the body. Hormones secreted by our endocrine gland to be carried throughout the body by the circulating blood wherever it is needed. So all such functions that need transport are performed by two circulating fluids, that is blood and lymph. Fluids in our body. There are three types of fluids in our body: blood, tissue fluid, lymph, etc. Blood, which is contained in the heart, and heart, from heart arise the aorta, divides into arteries, arterioles and finally the capillaries. So blood contained in this, and tissue fluid occupying between the cells and cells of the organ. Lymph, which is contained within the lymph vessels. You can see here the lymph duct, lymph vessels, and in the lymphatic organs such as spleen and tonsils. It is clear from the diagram here that our blood circulate in close manner from heart to lungs, and from lungs it gets oxygenated and comes back to the heart again. From heart it is supplied to whole part of the body, but it is in close manner. In some insects, blood flows through heart without vessels in insects, and that is known as open circulatory system. There are non-circulating fluid also. Example, we have already studied about the synovial joints. Remember where it is found. It is found in all joints between two bones. There the synovial fluid is found, which is never circulating, remain in between the joints like elbow joints, knee joints, etc. Also it is found in our eyes, vitreous humor, remain in the eyeball only, it never circulate. The blood, never stationary. Blood is always in motion from heart to the arteries and back through the veins. From heart to the aorta divides into arteries, arterioles and finally the capillaries, and supplies to the whole part of the body, and through veins it is again come back to the heart. Color, the blood is somewhat bright red in arteries and dark red in vein. Here it is shown to just to separate between two colors. It is Actually the dark red, and this is bright red. Volume: an average adult human is having 5 to 6 liter of blood in his body. Taste of the blood is saltiest. All might have tasted your own blood, especially when your teeth broken. That time you might have tasted the blood. It tastes saltish. Functions of blood. There are two important functions of the blood. First is transport and second is protection. We'll see the first one, that is transport. Transport by blood. Digested food, oxygen, carbon dioxide, excretory substance, hormone, body heat, etc. These are transported by blood. Already we have seen in the beginning. Transport of digested food from the alimentary canal to the tissues. These substances are simple sugar like glucose, amino acid, vitamins, minerals, salts, etc. It reaches by the blood to the every part of the cells. Transport of oxygen. As we breathe in, lungs is filled with the air and the blood. In the blood, hemoglobin that combine with oxygen and forms the unstable compound oxyhemoglobin, and which is transported by the blood to every cells of the body. Transport of carbon dioxide. As the oxygen reaches to the every cells of the body, there it forms the carbon dioxide after breaking down the nutrients and producing carbon dioxide, energy and water. Energy and water is used by the body, and carbon dioxide is picked up by these capillaries and forming the deoxygenated blood, bringing back to the heart. From heart it is sent to the lungs for oxygenation. Transport of excretory material from the tissues to the liver, kidney or the skin for elimination or making them harmless. Distribution of hormone. Hormone is secreted by special gland, endocrine glands, that in detail we will be studying later on in the one chapter is there, and it is directly put into the blood vessel and sent to the target organs or cells wherever it is required. Distribution of heat. The blood helps in keeping the temperature of the body uniform by distributing heat. Protection by blood. Blood forms clot whenever there is any cut or any injuries in the body, blood flows. But there is the capacity to form the clot. After forming the clot, it prevents from further loss of blood and also prevent the entry of disease causing germs. Its white blood corpuscles protect the body from disease by engulfing the foreign germs or bacteria whenever it entered in our body cells. There are so many barriers, still some germs manage to enter our body, so these white blood cells, they engulf or swallow or destroy them and prevent from diseases. It produces, white blood cells produces antitoxins and antibodies which neutralize the poisonous substance or kill the germs which entered in the body. So these are the functions of the blood. Composition of blood. The blood consists of plasma and cellular elements. Plasma constitutes 55 to 60% of blood, and cellular elements, red and white cells, and are 40 to 45% of the blood. Plasma, the liquid portion of the blood. The plasma is light yellow colored alkaline liquid. It mainly consists of water 90 to 92 percentage, protein 7 to 8 percentage, inorganic salt 1 percentage, other substances very little traces. The inorganic salts includes sodium chloride and sodium bicarbonate. And within the plasma is having other substances too are glucose, amino acid, fibrinogen, hormone, urea, etc. The plasma from which the protein fibrinogen has been removed, it is known as serum. Please learn the definition of serum. The plasma from which the protein fibrinogen has been removed is known as serum. Cellular elements. The formed of cellular element structure visible under magnification of the blood are three categories. The first is red blood cells, and that is also known as erythrocytes, white blood cells, leukocytes, red blood cells, thrombocytes. So three types of blood cells are here: red blood cell, erythrocytes, white blood cells, leukocytes, and the diagram also platelets, thrombocytes. Here you can see the red blood cell without nucleus. White blood cells is having the nucleus and it is irregular in shape, and that's why it's having the amoeboid movement. And platelets or thrombocytes, that also does not contain nucleus. Platelets. Red blood cells, the oxygen carrier. These are minute biconcave disc-like structure, flat in the center and thick at the periphery. So sometimes you will be asked question, what is the structure of the RBCs, red blood cells? So you have to write there biconcave disc-like, thick at the periphery. And these are very minute, about 7 micron in diameter, and 1 micron is equal to 1,000 of a millimeter. So you can imagine how small it is. The small size plus the concavities on either side provide a large surface area volume ratio to absorb more oxygen. I said the structure of RBCs is biconcave disc-like, so increasing the surface area to absorb more oxygen so that it can deliver to the cells more oxygen. The small size enables the red blood cells to travel through very fine capillaries and reaching to the every cells of the body. Hemoglobin. The effective chemical constituents of RBCs. The red blood cells have colorless spongy body or stroma which contain a respiratory pigment hemoglobin. You will be asked sometimes to write in the name of the following, name the respiratory pigments. So your answer is hemoglobin. The hemoglobin is formed of an iron containing part and protein. Iron is hemin and protein is globin. That's why it is hemoglobin. It has the ability to combine readily with oxygen and forming the oxyhemoglobin unstable compound, and gives so that when it reaches cells and tissues it can break and deliver the oxygen to the cells. Hemoglobin can carry a very small quantity of carbon dioxide in the form of carbamino hemoglobin. Carbon monoxide poisoning. Hemoglobin has very strong affinity for carbon monoxide, forming a stable compound carboxyhemoglobin. Carboxyhemoglobin. And carboxyhemoglobin cut down the capacity of the blood carrying to the cells and tissue. It can result to death. So sometimes here also one question you will be asked, what is carbon monoxide poisoning? So carbon monoxide poisoning here, hemoglobin is having the strong affinity with carbon monoxide, forming the stable compound carboxyhemoglobin, which cuts down the oxygen carrying capacity, resulting in death. So please remember that. Life and death of RBCs. In adult, the RBCs are produced in bone marrow of long bones, especially in ribs, breastbone, ilium and hip girdle. In an embryo, they are produced in liver and spleen. In children of 5 years old, all bones produce the RBCs. The mature red blood cells have no nucleus. Here you will be asked sometime to give reason. The mature mammalian red blood cells not having nucleus, give reason. So for that, the reason is loss of nucleus makes the RBCs biconcave, thus increasing the surface area volume ratio for absorbing more oxygen, so that it can deliver the oxygen to the needy cells and tissues. So this is the reason not having the nucleus. Loss of mitochondria. You know that in the cell. Next is loss of mitochondria. Here you can see in the cell the mitochondria is present. Loss of mitochondria means there is no use of oxygen in the cells. RBCs is not having mitochondria, RBCs, so that it cannot use the oxygen for itself. That means the complete transport of oxygen to the cells and tissues. If the mitochondria is present in the RBCs, oxygen will be used for breaking down the food for itself, and there will be lack of oxygen for the other cells and tissues. So all the oxygen absorbed from the lungs is transported and delivered to the tissues unconsumed. Secondly, loss of mitochondria means full transport of glucose in blood plasma unused by the RBCs. And the next is no endoplasmic reticulum. No endoplasmic reticulum is found in the RBCs. Means increased flexibility of RBCs for their movement through narrow capillaries. So sometimes you will be asked to give reason that there is no nucleus found in RBCs, give reason. No mitochondria is found, no endoplasmic is found. So for this whole reason already I have explained to you. And the life of the RBCs is 120 days. Sometimes this also is asked, what is the lifespan of the RBCs? red blood cells. So remember 120 days. The old and weak red blood cells are destroyed in the spleen, liver and bone marrow. Their iron part is retained in the liver and rest it is excreted as a bile pigment bilirubin that help in digestion. So please here students, please go through the chapter. Here I complete my today's lesson, and whatever I have said you go through it and try to read. Please don't wait for the last moment, otherwise you are going to suffer. Like we don't know what is going to happen next, because sometimes your school exams mark is very important for your life. It will take place in these years, coming years. So please be serious and study well. Thank you.